Hello, Reformed mythologist Nate Morgan Locke here with a myth about self-esteem and unrequited love. Narcissus was a Greek hunter, the son of the river god Cephissus and the naiad Liriope. He grew up to become a remarkably handsome young man. Everyone loved him.
Hello.
But Narcissus would not return their affection. Our story really begins, though, with a nymph named Echo. She had just got into trouble with the goddess Hera, who was looking for her scumbag of a husband, Zeus. Hey. He was flirting with the nymphs, and Echo had been chattering away to keep Hera occupied. Realizing she'd been delayed, Hera pronounced a curse upon Echo. Never again would she be able to start a conversation. Ever after, she would only be able to repeat the words of others. One day, Echo spotted Narcissus while he was hunting. She fell in love with him instantly, and she followed him through the woods. Narcissus became separated from his party. Sensing someone was nearby, he called out for his companions. "Who's here?" Echo replied. "Here." Narcissus couldn't see her. "Come out from there." "There." Narcissus couldn't see here nor there, so eventually he quoted Frozen 2. "Show yourself!" Echo appeared and reached out to touch Narcissus. But true to form, Narcissus rejected her, and the heartbroken Echo ran away to hide in the caves. She pined for him, desperate that he should return her love. She became weak, and her body wasted away. Eventually she was so frail from giving love and not receiving it that her bones became rocks, and only her voice remained. Anyway, the goddess of retribution Nemesis, who was besties with Aphrodite, goddess of love, had seen all this and decided to punish Narcissus for his refusal to return Echo's love. Ever after, whatever Narcissus loved would never love him in return. And it just so happened that after all this hunting and heartbreaking, Narcissus was thirsty and went into a forest clearing to find a drink. There before him was a pool of water. As he bent down, he saw a face looking back at him. He was so awed by this person, he could barely move. Impulsively, he tried to touch the image, but couldn't. It turned to water in his hand. The face disappeared. But after a few seconds, it came back. He smiled. It smiled back. He was in love. Narcissus was so infatuated that he didn't sleep. The light of the moon shone blue on his face as he stared at the image before him. He forgot to eat. He spent hours, which turned into days, which turned into weeks, just staring at the face on the water. So, totally enamored by his own reflection, Narcissus stayed by the side of the pool and wasted away. Eventually, he breathed his last and closed his eyes. The nymphs mourned for him, and Echo cried out in the caverns. So what to make of it? The myth of Narcissus is well known because it gives us one of the 21st century's favourite insults. Narcissist! There are people around us who are self-centered with an exaggerated sense of their own importance. In extreme cases, such a person can be diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, but it's a tricky thing to pin down, unless you're on the internet, in which case it's very easy. But while he's the star of the show, the Narcissus myth isn't only about Narcissus. Its mythic theme is unrequited love. It's not limited to the main character's boundless self-esteem, but a wholesale expose of disordered affections. Hera loves Zeus, but Zeus loves the nymphs. Echo loves Narcissus, but Narcissus only loves himself. And ultimately, this is where our disordered loves crash and burn. The human problem is not that a few of us have a personality disorder, it's that all of us have a heart condition. We've been created to love God and love others, but that's not how we live. At root, our hearts are turned in on themselves. This is who we are according to the flesh. Knock the H off and spell it backwards. That's just a neat trick of the English language, but self-love doesn't lead to human flourishing, but to perishing. We become less than human. We shrink and wither as people. We can't survive according to the flesh. We need the spirit. So what do you make of the myth of Echo and Narcissus? Leave your comments below and we'll include them in a follow-up video in which I'll go into more detail on how this myth relates to the Christian faith. I've been Reformed mythologist Nate Morgan Locke. I'm glad you were here.